Ava. I'm the graphic designer here at Protocol 80.
And I'm Ryan, one of the writers, not a graphic designer.
And today we're going to talk about graphic design for non-designers and what is the protocol with that. Luckily, in this day and age, there are a ton of programs that you can use in order to help non-designers get a little design. There are instances where you might not be able to hire an in-house graphic designer or even a freelance graphic designer, and you need to take on that design work for yourself. And there's some easy tips and tricks that you can use to make it look like a professional design, even if you're not a professional designer.
Yes, number one is keeping it simple. It's not, you don't need to be a fantastic designer. You don't need to recreate the wheel. What your biggest thing is that you want to get your point across about what you're designing. And so the best way to do that is to go minimalist and keep it simple.
Exactly. Yep. And with that, you want to use a cohesive color palette, something of colors that work together, and keep in mind the different emotions that different colors will emulate. And it's really easy to just go ahead, get on Google and search, and there's plenty of resources out there that show what different colors mean and what different feelings colors will emulate.
And next, don't go overboard on your fonts. Along with your color palette and you're keeping it simple, you want to make sure that the text that you're choosing is nothing overboard that's going to overwhelm your design and make it so that people can't read it. So try to stick to one or two fonts, not too many more.
Exactly. You also want to consider the visual hierarchy. What are you trying to convey? What do you want to say? What do you want people to notice first about your design? That should be the largest part of that design and stick out the most. Naturally, our eyes go from left to right, just like you're reading. So you want the more important things to be top and left on your design, and then secondary, go to the right. Drop down, left to right throughout your design.
And then for one of my biggest pet peeves is white space. White space is super important. You don't want to have everything so crowded that people can't read it, because white space helps people, it helps bring them into what you're reading. So if you have a lot of text, go back to keep it simple, edit down what you can, and embrace that white space. Not too much. You know, you don't want a whole big white nothing. But yeah, definitely white space helps pull in a reader's eye to those graphic elements that you do have.
Exactly. Yep. Also, when you're designing, you have to keep in mind the dimensions and the file formats that you need to use. If you're uploading an image and it needs to be a JPEG that's 350 pixels wide, you need to know that before you start designing, because if you design something too small, it could come out pixelated and not look nice. Or if you're designing something too big, it'll overwhelm a page or wherever you happen to be putting the object. Also, some places like social media, they won't accept certain files. It'll be too large. And then you're there scratching your head saying, okay, what size do I need to put it at? And you can research that easily online, just in like another Google search, and you can figure out what dimensions you need for most projects. Also with printing, if you're sending a print for a magazine or a newspaper, you want to understand and know what dimensions they're looking for, and also the color codes and color formats that it needs to be in.
Absolutely. And to help you with all of this, there are lots of free resources. One of our favorites is Canva. They have the file formats already, the templates, stock photos, things like that.
Yeah, you can also use Pixabay. That's a resource that I even use pretty often because it has free commercial use of images, videos, vector graphics, illustrations, and if you sign up for a free account, then there's also more options to saving those things. You know, it's not that hard to be a graphic designer. I mean, you can research a couple things and you can do it yourself very easily.
Says the graphic designer. I would say that yes, there are times that it is very hard to come up with these things if you're not an artist who is professionally trained to be doing these things. But with the right resources, the right tips, knowing how to do it, it's not easy, but it is easier.
Just keep these tips in mind, and if you need any help, you can always reach out to the Protocol 80 team.
Absolutely.